Good evening. I invite you to stand for the invocation. Holy One, great source and lover of all, these graduates are known to you. They have cried out your name when they have seen the price of their textbooks. They have asked for your mercy when they have pondered their workload. They have given you thanks when they have overcome trials. Gracious One, these graduates are known to you. They honor reason and thought. They seek order and justice. They value life and liberty. They appreciate a sound judgment. Surely you have heard their cries, for they are here today, older, and we trust much wiser. Ready now to be entrusted with interpreting and developing and caring for that framework that holds us all together, somehow. Holy Parent, you know these graduates, their professors, their families. Be present with us and rejoice with them as we celebrate their accomplishments, give thanks for their devotion to the law, and offer hopes for their future and the good they will do in the world. Amen, amen, and so it shall be. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good evening. My name is Brian Galini, lucky enough to be the dean of the college, and it didn't take long to get here, did it? I'm thrilled to be with all of you, faculty, staff, friends, parents, family members, distinguished guests, and most importantly, all of you, class of 20 and class of 21, welcome back for your in-person ceremony for the 134th and 135th commencements of the Willamette University College of Law. We are here to correct the record and finally, in person, celebrate you, classes of 20 and 21, who weathered unprecedented global, national, and regional issues while in school. It's these very same challenges that prevented us from celebrating you as fully as we would have liked when it came time for your initial commencement celebrations. But it's what brings us here today. Before we begin with our official program, please join me in our land acknowledgement out of respect for those whose relationship to this land precedes ours, and to collectively engage in fundamental measures that advance justice for the indigenous peoples of the region past, present, and future. We are gathered on the land of the Kalapuya, who today are represented by the Confederated Tribes of the Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians, whose relationship with this land continues to this day. We offer gratitude for the land itself, for those who have stewarded it for generations, and for the opportunity to study, learn, work, and be in community on this land. We acknowledge that our university's history, like many others, is fundamentally tied to the first colonial developments in the Willamette Valley. And finally, we respectfully acknowledge and honor past, present, and future Indigenous students of Willamette. In my second order of business, I have the honor of introducing the Platform Party. And as I make introductions, each member of the Platform Party will please stand and be recognized individually. This evening, we are joined by Provost and Senior Vice President Carol Long, our commencement speaker, class of 2020 graduate, Julie Preciado. Willamette University chaplain, Reverend Anita P. Adesanya. Associate Dean, Melody McAlpine. The Roderick and Carol Wendt Chair in Business Law and Dean Emeritus, Curtis Bridgman. Professor of Law, Keith Cunningham Parmiter. Distinguished Jurist in Residence, Justice Jack Landau. Professor of Legal Research and Writing and Director of Academic Skills and Bar Success, Amy B. Myers. Associate Professor of Law, Terrence O'Reilly. Professor of Law and Director of the Certificate Program in Sustainability, Susan L. Smith. The Alex L. Parks Distinguished Professor of Law and Dean Emeritus, Simeon C. Simeonides. And Professor of Law and University Counsel, Yvonne A. Tamayo. And finally, let me introduce our pianist, Honey Wilson. I'd like to take just a moment to thank all of them for joining us and joining me to celebrate this special day with all of you and for their many contributions to the College of Law community. No one does significant things alone, and we all owe an extraordinary debt of gratitude to them alongside our full faculty and staff community. And speaking of thanks, I want to take a moment to thank and recognize those in the audience who have sacrificed and strived along with our graduates to get them through law school and who continue to support them as they launch their careers at a time of great uncertainty. As we've often heard, it takes a village, and I want to recognize the impact that you've made on the success of our graduates. So, to the beloved and much appreciated parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, spouses, and children, grandchildren, siblings, friends, professors, alumni, and attorney mentors in the audience today, allow me, on behalf of our graduates, to share their deep gratitude and heartfelt appreciation for all that you do and have done to support them throughout their academic and professional journey. And a special note in honor of those loved ones who we've lost these past 2 years, including our own Professor Ed Harry, and those who are not able to share in this joyful moment, but whose presence and support are held in the hearts of our graduates. I hope that your memories of them are a blessing. Now then, I want to start by recognizing the class of 2020. This group of graduates had a fairly typical law school experience until March of 2020, when in their final semester, all of the celebratory milestones and traditions one would expect to experience slowly eroded as we came to grips with the enormity and severity of what we were all facing. But they kept their composure and grace in the midst of rapid change and great uncertainty while experiencing the cancellation of an in-person commencement, an unknown bar exam environment, and nearby demonstrations over the police murder of George Floyd. This parade of events, and in particular, the uncertainty that came with bar prep culminating in diploma privilege, led to confusion around when this group would be eligible to practice law. This was no small obstacle, but rather a challenging course of changing terrain that our graduates treaded with grace and a heavy mix of leadership. A case in point, I applaud them for leaning into projects like the Racial Justice Task Force. Shortly after the Oregon Supreme Court's historic 4-3 vote in favor of diploma privilege, making Oregon the second of 5 total jurisdictions that would adopt diploma privilege that summer, our class of 2020 formed the Racial Justice Task Force to study a narrow issue in criminal procedure: the role of implicit bias in criminal jury selection. Of all the law schools in the 5 states that adopted diploma privilege, Willamette was the only law school that saw its graduates get to work, so to speak, during a period of time universally otherwise set aside for bar preparation. And the legacy of that work continues today as the Oregon legislature considers changes to peremptory challenges, changes inspired by the task force's work. That example demonstrates your ability, class of 2020, and your Willamette legal training in the best light, even when everything was shifting and changing day to day, and it would have been easy to feel defeated or overwhelmed. I know we all had those moments. I did. And even in the 2 years since. But I also had the privilege in that summer of seeing each of you rise to the challenges being thrown in your path, and of watching you successfully navigate circumstances that had never happened before. Now, it may have felt as though your time at Willamette ended with a whisper, while we were isolating at home and waited for updates from the CDC. But I watched you rally yourselves and your peers to persist in spite of it all, and I've seen it make you better lawyers and better people as a result. Looking back, maybe some of it was a gift, or at least that's how you might frame it. Stated more precisely, you control how you frame that experience. And as I frame it, that pandemic experience gave you a skill set and a lens that I see enhanced your ability to remain present and focused amid extraordinary uncertainty. And that framing, or rather that lived reality, is the mosaic of all that you've lived through and have achieved, and I can't wait to watch the great things you'll continue to accomplish. To our class of 21, your journey continued that summer, one which brought widespread social unrest as we faced a national and overdue reckoning with systemic racism and led into a school year of virtual and hybrid learning that was interrupted and complicated by historic wildfires, ice storms, and the ongoing pandemic. Your law school experience was split almost evenly between pre-pandemic normalcy and the disruptions that would come to characterize the academic year of 2020 and 2021. Managing a highly demanding legal education in the middle of that instability is no easy feat, but you partnered with peers, faculty, staff, and administrators to work through countless big and small adjustments that were made necessary by circumstances outside your control. That said, we are all each capable of and empowered to control our responses to the circumstances we find ourselves in, and I was so thankful, as your newly arrived dean, to see the mutual care and consideration that you showed to members of our community. When I think of your class, I think of resilience, persistence, tenacity, but most importantly, grace. You were and are examples of how we all choose to see opportunity amid a sea of challenges, and I remain impressed by the culture that we build together. And now that you're a year out, looking at a future of greater possibilities for travel, long-missed activities, reconnecting with peers, as well as your alma mater, I hope this event and this weekend gives you a well-deserved moment to pause and reflect on how much happened in such a short period of time. I hope you'll also reflect on the unique skills that you had the opportunity to build amid such disruptive circumstances. Your law school experience is one characterized by unexpected change, and it strikes me that that's precisely how your clients likely feel. Oftentimes for them, everything's going just fine until suddenly it's not. And they turn to you for answers, and I believe that your law school experience makes you better equipped to give them. All right, how do we wrap it up? How do we put a bow on this in a way that brings the experiences from our two classes together? I guess for me, it's simple. These two classes experienced and lived through unprecedented change and kept pushing. Well, we need you to keep pushing. We need for you to push for change even in the small incremental spaces that mark your professional lives. In doing so, we expect you to rise up to meet the demands and the privileges of the joyful or heartbreaking moments with the steadiness of conviction that defined your hard-earned law school experience. In short, we expect that you will take the skills and perspectives that you've honed in the crucible of the last few years and apply them to the challenges of our time. Oftentimes, let's admit, this work is not highly visible or glamorous, nor does progress come particularly quickly, but I have faith that you will persist, as you did to get here, to see it through, and in doing so, you'll leave a better path for those who come behind you. I want to thank you for being here, for giving all of us, the faculty, the staff, administrators, the privilege of celebrating this long overdue moment with all of you. My warmest congratulations to each of you for what it took you to get your degrees, the belief that you have in yourselves and one another, the support of your family and your friends, all of which came together for this night. I can't wait to continue to follow and support each of you in your professional journeys. And with that, I'm truly honored to invite one of your peers and our keynote speaker, Julie Preciado, class of 2020, to the podium. Julie is a member of Dunn Carney's business team with expertise in litigation, employment advice, multi-state and remote workplace and compliance, workplace investigative practices, and as a former business owner, Julie has a unique understanding of the issues and legal matters that companies face. Actively involved in the community, Julie serves as a board member on the Oregon Women Lawyers Foundation, the American Contractors Association, the Oregon Lawyers Chapter of the American Constitution Society, and is chair of the Oregon Women Lawyers Foundation's Grants Committee. She regularly presents for the Hispanic Metropolitan Chamber Leadership Class and is a member of the Hispanic National Bar Association, where she previously served as the regional student representative. Fluent in Spanish, she successfully used her bilingualism to provide language interpretation and translation services prior to her legal career. And before joining Dunn Carney, Julie completed an externship for Oregon Supreme Court's Chief Justice Martha Walters, an internship for the Honorable Magistrate Judge John V. Acosta, and served as a law clerk with the United States Attorney's Office, as well as with the legal aid services of Oregon's statewide low-income taxpayer clinic. She received her BA magna cum laude from Portland State University and her JD cum laude from Willamette University College of Law, where she served as Willamette's liaison to the American Bar Association, president of the Multicultural Law Student Association, and co-chair of the Dean Santos Diversity Speaker Series. Her efforts, along with other members of the Latinx Law Student Association, led to 2 high-profile campus events, one featuring the then 5 women justices of the Oregon Supreme Court for a panel discussion, and the other, a campus-wide forum featuring Oregon's 2 women governors, Governor Brown and former Governor Roberts. Julie, it is our and my genuine pleasure to have you with us. Please, if you would, join me in welcoming Julie Preciado as this year's commencement speaker.
Wow, that was an introduction. Thank you very much. Well, good evening, buenas tardes. Thank you very much, Dean Galini, for the introduction. And thank you for the Law School Administration for having me here to address my fellow grads of 2020 and 2021. It's an honor. And really thank you to Dean Galini in general for being such a strong champion these last few years of us at Willamette and of creating a relevant legal education in general for students and grads and believing in us to make a difference in our communities. His work promoting alternative paths to licensure has been very much appreciated. All the way from when he came on in 2020 and he helped us get started with the Racial Justice Task Force to recently entering conditional scholarships. It's been nothing short of inspirational. For far too long, the legal profession has been very exclusionary, and thank you for your leadership, Dean Galini, for helping build towards a more inclusive practice. Now, Dean Galini doesn't know this, but I was really excited when he asked me if I could speak today, because May 14th in particular is a very special day for me and my family. It's my mom's birthday. She passed away 17 years ago. But if she were here today, she would be 69 years old. And I can't imagine how proud of me she would be if she could see me now. Her 7 children were her everything. She used to brag about us all the time, at any chance she could get, any and every opportunity, to family members, to friends, to grocery store clerks. It was a bit embarrassing. At the time, all we could think was, oh gosh, Mom, these people, they don't want to hear your story, they don't care about your kids, they're strangers, they don't want to hear your life story. But now I see that we were her life's work, and how could she not beam and be proud of what she had created and what we were doing, and how wonderful we were, even though we weren't that wonderful. More than that, though, my mom really believed in forging relationships wherever she went. And that's something that at the time we felt was her oversharing with people that didn't really want to hear about it. But now that's something I really value, bringing that authenticity and that vulnerability to our daily interactions. So in her honor today, and in the spirit of oversharing, I share with you today. As you all know, we've been through a lot these past couple of years, and that's something that we share. We went to law school, attended law school, when the world was shutting down, when everything felt rife with uncertainty and fear. We went home in spring of 2020 for what we thought was an early spring break, and we were like, woohoo! But we quickly realized that that's not what was the case. We frantically scrambled to try to figure out how to finish law school in a remote environment. We missed graduation, and that really hurt. It was hard to not celebrate and recognize our accomplishments. But then we had to keep going. We had more work to do. We had to study for the bar exam. And then before we could get very far down that path, as you all remember, the world felt like it was on fire. First with the heart-wrenching scenes of the murder of George Floyd, and then ensuing civil unrest. And then later, literally half the West Coast was on fire. And in the midst of it all, we had to weigh whether sitting for the bar exam to earn the right to practice what we had spent the last 3 years of our lives working towards was worth getting sick ourselves and bringing that home to our families. So as we all know, the pandemic has definitely challenged us in new ways. But as we also know, struggle isn't new. Like my mom fought with the resources she had for a better life for her and all her kids, and believe me, she would fight for us. She nearly bit the head off of a girl who was picking on me in middle school. So too have you and I been resourceful and resilient with all the past few years have thrown at us. We've leaned on friends and family, and we've leaned on each other. And we've come out stronger. It's an experience that we'll always share. And here we are now. We've made it through with humor and grace, and that's something that I know my mom would be proud of, and the folks that are proud of you are proud of that too. So let us put the trials of the past 2 years behind us, and let's not let that overshadow our successes today. We've worked hard to get where we are, and it's an honor to be in our position. A level of credibility and authority come with the JD. Actually, Dinglini, you'll be passing out some credibility when you hood us, right? Joking aside, let us all recall why we came to law school. Let us channel our starry-eyed pre-law school selves today and every day in our practice. What were you dreaming of when you came to law school? For me, aside from earning the big bucks, I wanted to amplify the voices of those with the least power, to use the privilege and clout I had earned to help my family and my community, and to make the journey of my immigrant parents worth their hard work and sacrifice. You and I have acquired great gifts and knowledge that we can leverage to serve others. That's what kept me going in the darkest times when the world was on fire and it felt hopeless. A greater purpose, knowing that I was working towards being the best me to be able to help others and contribute to my family in ways that my community and my family would be proud of. And I know my accomplishments today are not just my own, just as yours are not. It took a tribe to get us here, family and friends, partners and children, professors and mentors, to believe in us, to pick up the slack at home, to wash some extra dishes and fold the laundry, and to excuse us when we missed another family dinner. If my mom were here, she'd probably be the first to put me on blast to tell everyone that my first Thanksgiving of my law school career, instead of having the family over and making a big dinner with my brothers and sisters and my nieces, I went to Friendsgiving, and I took a bottle of wine and a bottle of vodka, because that's law school. It's a little rough sometimes. So thank you to all our supporters for helping us get here. Thank you to my daughter who is here today with two of my brothers and one of my colleagues of many years. Your love and your wit motivate me every day. This recognition and this accomplishment is just as much for the Familia Preciado as it is for me, and it's for my community. So I thank you all, and I thank my parents for raising me to believe in myself and to answer the call to be a good force in the world. And thank you, too, to the faculty, professors. You supported us, you taught us, you mentored us, you helped us learn the law and transition into the legal community. We would not be here today without your encouragement and patience. Poor Professor Tamayo. When I first came to law school, I thought a tort was a sandwich. So she had a lot to teach me. I also would love to thank the staff, Student Affairs and Career Services. You keep things running smoothly all the time. You got us through, helped guide us in finding our first summer positions and our first positions after law school. I still call on Career Services and call on Dean Miles and Marty on a regular basis for career advice. So I'm hoping that lifelong executive coaching was included on our tuition. And to the facilities folks for making great events like tonight's celebration possible, for keeping our buildings clean and making the school an inviting place to learn every day. And to the folks down in Rick's, they really kept us caffeinated and kept us going, and that delicious fruit water that they served, keeping us hydrated. We would not have made it through those grueling years without copious amounts of coffee. And their cheery faces, cheering us on in the mornings. And thank you to family that are here today to celebrate your grad. It means so much for us that you're here today. And thank you to the grads for being here to support each other. I really appreciate that you're here to help celebrate me. And we need to be proud of our accomplishments. We've really earned it. We've been through a lot. And we're entering the profession now in a new world, and these are exciting times for Willamette and for the legal community. And I say, as we get started on our journeys, or we continue on our journeys, since some of us have already been in the career for a year or two, that may we not forget our starry-eyed pre-law school selves by continuing to work for what we believe in, asking whether the old ways are the best ways or whether there's ways we can improve upon them, and always letting our light shine. So I say to you, si se puede, and congratulations, classes of 2020 and 2021. Thank you.
Julie, thank you so much for your inspiring words and for being such a shining example of what it means to be a Willamette lawyer. Should we do this? Now we are ready to proceed to the presentation of diplomas and hoods. Since the Middle Ages, the hooding has symbolized the awarding of a graduate degree. And as the names of each JD graduate are announced, please note that some of these names are followed by the Latin words summa cum laude, magna cum laude, or cum laude. These words indicate the graduates who graduated with honors, specifically those graduates whose academic performance during their 3 years of law school ranked them at the top of their class. And according to academic tradition, we also honor our veteran graduates who wear red, white, and blue, and honor our academic performance with gold, silver, or white cords, respectively. Professor of Law Keith Cunningham Parmiter and Associate Dean Melody McAlpine will be presenting the graduates.
Richard R. Abbott, Jr. Alana Axley Irinaga. Megan M. Axley Irinaga. Ian Richard Borgman. Lee Allen Coffin. Will Frederick Mock Cross. Ana Carla Escobedo Barraza. Samantha Gloria Gulimba. Samantha Gloria Gulimba. Casey Kathleen Gilmore. Megan V. Graff. Janet Graham. Austin W. Haffenstein Holmes. Nicole Hetz. Caleb Jordan Nietzsche Hugo, cum laude. Taylor Rose Hurwitz, summa cum laude. Alexander N. Hutchinson. Laura K. Johnson. Heidi Rebecca Mandler Huff. Julie Preciado, cum laude. Nicholas Alexander Roten, cum laude. Tiana Lynn Rice. Lacey Satlin. David J. Scott. Christy Skalman. Eden Vasquez, summa cum laude.
Congratulations. Let's hear it for the class of 2020 and class of 2021. We are so proud of you. We know you'll make tremendous strides toward continuing your personal and professional ambitions and continue to keep pushing. I hope you'll stay connected with your alma mater and with one another. This ceremony will conclude with a benediction, but before adjourning, know just again how incredibly proud we are. Congratulations.
Now go forth from this place in joy and peace, with a word of thanks for each other, for enlivening your days and sustaining your nights, in community here and beyond. May your Latin phrases like habeas corpus, pro tem, and quid pro quo also include non nobis salum nati sumas, perhaps even pro bono. May meaningful cases and billable hours be plentiful. May your work-life balance exist. May the work that you choose align well with your soul, and your actions be thoughtful and wise. And may the holy source of life itself, who brings wisdom, justice, and mercy, be with you this day and forevermore. If you all agree. Amen, Amin, Ashe, and so it is, and so it shall be. I hope I've covered everyone's worldview.